salesmen are legit matchmakers. It is 100% true. You're trying to take your customer, your prospect, and match them to the best quality of service or product you're offering. And once they get that, like, they could be a customer for life.
Welcome to part 2 of the 2-part series with Mary Harper and sales techniques. Last week in our first episode, we discussed listening skills to understand what your customer needs, overcoming objections, and how to relate to your customer. This week, we will continue where we left off last week, and we will be discussing the benefits of customer testimonials, using your voice to win the sale, and your true purpose as a salesperson. This is the Biz Reveal podcast, and this week's guest, Mary Harper.
Let's say you're about to go into a meeting of somebody that you have been trying to sell whatever it is to, whether it's insurance, you're trying to sell stamps, I don't know who does that anymore, but it just came to me. Something I've been taught is bring a past customer with you. Now, I'm not saying physically. You don't got to bring somebody physically with you, but a testimonial. Testimonials are so key into overcoming objections and your risks, because what I could say whatever about myself, and it would you believe me? No, I'm saying it about myself. But if I have a previous customer give me a great testimonial, that's proof. And that's like, whenever you hear about a restaurant, that new pizzeria over there, you go and look up reviews. You want to see what people have to say, or that shirt you found online. So the reason I brought up testimonials is very important because they are key into selling whatever it is you're trying to sell, whether it's yourself or a product. Okay. So, and understand this, it's okay to give them kind of like a, not a script. Okay. But you can help guide them, because I've been in a position where, like, can you give me a testimonial? And I'm like, I don't even know what to say. I'll say, I had a great experience. It was wonderful, but it's so generic. But I really did have a good time. The reason I say it's okay to give them kind of like a guideline is because it is everything. You want to make sure it's truth. You don't exaggerate it. You better be facts about yourself and what they experienced. And it's just a way to help them, because a lot of people get stage fright or, sure, nervous, even with the pen or paper. They're like, I don't even know what to say. So it kind of helps them. And I've done it and it really works.
Another thing I found that works a lot too, and it creates trust. And it's about being honest. Always be honest. Right? So don't do these things just because, they're good tips and like, oh, well, Mary said to do this or Craig said to do this. You do it because you understand it and you realize that it mm-hmm. builds trust and honesty. And I have found that you cannot only give people the positives to what you have to offer.
Yeah.
Because not everything that you have to offer is going to be positive, right? You're going to have negative reviews.
Yes.
You're going to have complaints. I don't think there's anything out there that doesn't have a pro and a con.
I got one negative and it crushed me.
Find a negative, albeit make sure it's a negative that's not a huge negative, but make a negative out of some aspect of what you're offering and offer that negative as well. Say, hey, all this stuff is great that I'm telling you about, all these different points to this plan or to this product. These are all the awesome things. However, I would tell you that, our most common complaint revolves around this.
Yeah.
It's not a huge deal, but I do want to make you aware of that there is a commonality in, something negative, but make that negative something that may not affect that particular person too strongly.
Too. Sure. And honesty. It
You're being
really
honest
does.
about, hey, it's not all rainbows. There, sometimes there is a negative or two, but bring that to the forefront. Better to have them know it now than find out after they have the product, right?
Absolutely. And that is key. And I love that you said that. And it's just a matter of, and like I said, if you're going to help them write the review or testimonial, you better be honest, like we mentioned, and it better be truthful, because guess what? Let's say you get that customer, that prospect, and that testimonial is what sold them, not you. Let's say it was that testimonial. And if you are not abiding by what your testimonial said, you just lost that customer. And guess what's going to be talked about is you with all of that. And who knows, that could have been your pipeline. That one customer could have just sent you 10 referrals, and those 10 referrals could have led you to 30 referrals, and so on and so forth. So it's very important for you to always be honest, but testimonials are key. Get them. Do not be afraid to ask for them, because guess what? At the end of your sale or whatever it is you're doing, ask for it. You deserve it. You're going to be nervous.
I just made you happy.
Yes. And they're going to love it. They're going to want to. You just say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I just sold you that house and I know you love it. And I was just wondering if I can come over and sit down with you. And if you would be able to take, 20 minutes to discuss doing a testimonial for me, because it would mean everything to me. You won't get told no. They want to make sure that they help you because you just helped them. And that is key. Helping them helps you. And the outcome is it's something that is indescribable. The feeling that you get. The money will come. Don't focus on the money. Please do not focus on the money. The money will come if you're just genuine about what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. But,
so when you transition into the close, because this is one of the hardest part about sales, is, when you're going to the product, you've got them, they are interested. They've given you all the cues and they're saying, oh, that's great. That's perfect. Yeah. And some salespeople don't catch on to that. Mm-hmm. You're not catching the cues. They're already telling you they want it. Don't go on and on telling them about 15 more different bullet points about how great you are. You've already gotten their interest. They want to buy from you. Pick up on those cues. And again, it all comes to listening. So now when you transition into the sale, which a lot of salesmen, even though this is what we do, right? Salespeople, it's all about that end product, which is getting the sale and closing it. They don't know how to transition into it. And sometimes you get a little wishy-washy. Well, if it's okay with you, just go into it. Should it be an assumptive close? I mean, I know there's, like 30 different types of close.
I'm pretty direct. Like you want to walk in there with confidence. And when you're at the end of it and you got them, you just say, all right, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I've told you this, and this. We went over all the objections. I've shown you my value that I can offer you, which value to me means more than anything to everything. So I'll say, when you sit there and you say, I've offered you this, and this, why aren't you signing today? Let's do this.
What's keeping you from doing this?
What is keeping you from signing today? And that is one of the key questions.
Send me information.
How
do you battle that? Because that's going to be one of I get that a lot in health insurance, right? We've talked about everything.
Oh, I've said it before.
I screen share and I show them all the products, and like the stuff I'm going to send them, I'm already showing them on the screen and I'm already going over everything and they want to buy. But
so then this is where you back up.
Hold something in their
hand. This is where you back up again. Say, well, is it the price? Is it the pricing? Is it the package? If you could create a health plan, what would be on your health plan, Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Would it be coverage of this, and this? What is it that is making me want to send what's in front of you right now through an email? And that's the main thing is you want to kind of, now that they're there, back up, start over again with your questions.
Because it's obviously a trust issue there, I think, right?
Yes.
If they've given you all the cues that you have everything that they're looking for and they still want to look at information, is that just a natural reflex?
So
or
there's
does that
something
mean that they
missing.
Don't trust you?
There's something missing there. So it could be a couple of things. It could be that they have a lack of, whether it's knowledge or trust within me or you, the salesperson. It's a lack of trust and knowledge in the company, your product and service, or within themselves. And sometimes it's their gut instinct, and we all know what that is. We all know what those gut instincts is. But at the end of the day, it's something that we more than likely have missed. And we've all done it. And it's okay. But that's one of the reasons. It's either they just don't have enough information. Something's not sitting right with them. And that's where we have to narrow it down. So it's important to, again, back up. Let's rewind, because we just had them 5 minutes ago.
Right.
So now they're telling me, well, you know what, just go ahead and send it to me. And then that's where you sit there and you say, absolutely, I'd love to send this to you. That's no problem. But again, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you just told me that everything that I'm saying to you is what you want. The price is there. We went over all the objections. I showed you my value. let's do this.
What are you hoping to see in what I'm sending you that we haven't covered together? Because I'm more than happy to explain. That's what I'm here for. I'm more than happy to explain that to you.
And sometimes, and you need to understand is sometimes you could do everything right, every single thing right. And it's just them. It's maybe just really not the right time. Maybe there's something going on that they don't want to tell you or talk about. So it's important to not give up. And again, don't be too pushy. If you can tell they're kind of like, I already told you to email it to me, you say no problem. And then you just keep with your follow up. But again, if you do get into a situation where they're like, you know what, just go ahead and email it to me, but you thought you had them on the hook, you thought you really had them, back up and start going back to questions you may have asked before to get them back to that point of where they already wanted you.
Right. And when you follow up, because that's another key point in sales as well, because follow up, right?
Yes.
And I think the statistic is something like it takes 8 follow-ups.
5 to 12 point of contacts.
So how do you follow up and be consistent with it and persistent, right? I mean, because that's your job as a salesperson, right? Is taking care of them. How do you stay persistent and do your job without being pushy?
That is a really good question.
Like how much follow-up is too much and what's the right amount?
So I'm going to speak personally for me. Everyone's different how they do it. And I'm still trying to find that happy little, that happy little medium. And I'll be honest, I'm still trying to get better at my follow-up. Sure. I think we all can work at it and be better. So let's see. So let's say I just met with somebody today, like you and I, and they said, it was great, but I'm just not, interested. And you go about your ways, you send them the information that they asked for. Well, the next day I'm going to call them and I'm going to say, hey, it's Mary. And remember when you call them, you have a smile on your face. Because if you don't, it's a different way to speak if you have a smile and if you don't have a smile. So bring that good energy again. Let them remember that energy. And you say, hey, it's me, Mary again. I'm just, calling to talk to you about. I just want to make sure you got my email. Exactly. Did you get that email? Oh, okay, you did. Hey, listen, I don't have much time to talk, but if you have any questions at all about what I sent you, please either call or text me, but my phone is right beside me. And just know that I'm here for you. But hey, again, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, thank you for taking my phone call. I'm glad you got the email. And I'm going to talk to you soon, okay? Click, you hang up. So what did I just do there? I just let them know, oh, okay, you got it? Well, hey, listen, I can't really talk long. I'm not trying to be sales. That's me not being pushy. And it's letting them know like, oh, okay, she's busy. I got a meeting I got to run to, but I just really wanted to make sure that you got it. So it lets them know that they're valuable to me. And that even though I'm busy and I got another meeting coming up, even though you may not, always let people think you're busy. They'll be like, well, dang, she just called me to find that out. She didn't even try to.
She's checking in on me. Yeah. She wants to make sure I'm okay and that I received what I asked for. Yeah.
So now after that, what you could do is you can wait, maybe wait a couple days. If you want to wait a week, but if not, wait a couple days, 2 to 3 days, call back again. Hey, it's me. I just wanted to see if you had any questions. Oh, I haven't even looked at it, Mary. You know what? I don't blame you. I'm going to go ahead and resend it to you so it's at the top of your inbox because I'm sure you got some spam up in there. You just be genuine with them and consistent. So that was 3 point of contacts. Remember, 5 to 12 point of contacts. And if I have their address, I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to write a handwritten letter that says, hey, maybe you prefer writing your questions. That's fine with me. I'm here to answer back. Let's do it the old way. It's humorous and it's just different. And your consistency will eventually be what? And they'll be like, what do you want? I'll be like, I want you. I want to show you, obviously, you can see that I'm valuable. I'm calling you. I want you. I can show you what I'm worth. And they'll be like, you know what? Okay. They'll see that you really care.
You're going the extra mile for them that everybody else didn't. It's setting you apart.
Yeah.
And I do very similar things. So, and you're right, it does work. That whole send it to me thing. Well, now you have a reason to call them back. You sent it to them. I'm just checking in on you. Now you got their email. I want to make sure you got it. Hey, sometimes with those PDF attachments, it'll get sent to your spam. I just wanted to make sure you received it. Oh, great, you did. Did you have any questions for me real quick while I got you on the phone then? No, you haven't looked at it yet? Completely understand. It's not the most exciting stuff to look at. Just want to let you know I'm here and I do the same thing. Hey, look, I know I'm calling you in the middle of the day. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just want to let you know I'm here. If you have any questions, feel free to call or text. Yeah. And then I'll check back in with them a couple of days later. Sometimes I'll even tell them I'll do that. Hey, if you don't mind, I'll give you a call back on Wednesday, just check in. But if you need me before then, give me a call.
And that's great. And that's something I was taught, is you want to ask them with the question, like, if I call you tomorrow at this time, would that be okay? Get them to say yes, not, hey, okay, I'm going to go ahead and give you a call tomorrow. Say, if I call you tomorrow, let's say, late afternoon, would that be okay? Like, make them say yes. And in the back of my mind, they'll be thinking, okay, she's going to call me tomorrow. Whether they answer or not, you are asking them a question to make a commitment. If I call you, will you? And then, and that's something I was taught, and it works. It really does work.
It's getting a commitment from them. That's a good point.
But just don't get discouraged. Just remember, you will get rejected. You will get denied. But that's where you have to understand it's not you. And it may be you. That's why it's important to always keep reading and keep educating yourself, because I do it every day. I have so much to learn still. But that's life, and that's okay. And that's what makes you better than your competition.
What I think is a good idea, and I've done this myself a lot when I first got into sales, you don't know how you sound to other people. So use that voice recorder on your phone.
Yes.
Or
practice to family and friends.
Yeah. Talking to mirror, but even in the mirror, you're hearing your head voice. You're not hearing how you really sound. So if you can get on a call, and even though you don't necessarily want to record both sides of the call, but just have something that's recording you.
Yeah.
And listen to the way you use words, the way you use the tone of your voice, how you respond to things. Do you say a lot and not even realize it? Are you laughing nervously at things that just aren't funny? So that will help you in your appearance of your call and the way you use your voice. If you do a lot of in-person stuff, I've actually spoken with people before that have really strange mannerisms.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm pretty animated when I talk, and I move my eyebrows a lot and things like that.
Oh, I'm very facial.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes that's great because it makes you involved. And again, I talk with my hands a lot.
Makes you human.
But if you do anything that's excessive,
it's distracting.
A lot, it's distracting, and they're not listening to you anymore, and they're paying attention. His eyebrows look like caterpillars, the way that they roll up and down, things like that. So pay attention to those mannerisms and train yourself.
Also, your prospects' mannerisms. They say, you want to mirror them,
exactly.
Which is hard. Okay, I practice this all the time, and I forget to do it. Like, I really try. One of the things is tonality. So, like, if they're mellow, you be a little mellow.
Exactly.
If they're hyper, you be a little hyper. You got to be a chameleon and adapt to them. If they cross their leg, you cross your leg. It's a little thing that
some of that happens naturally, though.
It does,
because I learned the same thing very early on, that you mimic them because now they're relating to you on a subconscious level.
Yes.
But I've also found that I do that subconsciously myself when they're they put their hands together like this. I end up that's great if it comes naturally like that, right? Mm-hmm. They smile and nod. That's one of the tricks to sales.
Oh,
right?
Always.
You ask a question, you want them to say yes to.
Doesn't that sound good, Mr. Smith? And as you're saying, doesn't that sound like it'd be a good idea? And as you're saying that, you're bobbing your head yes and no. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, without realizing they're doing it.
Exactly. And, another trick to get people used to saying yes is saying to them, does that make sense?
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wouldn't you agree with that? Or, it's really cool to find different ways to get them to agree with you, and make sure you shake that head. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes and no.
Yeah. So, there is a certain level of, I hate to use the term, but manipulation.
Okay. So that is okay. Do you remember Wolf of Wall Street guy?
Yes.
Brandon is, I forget
Jordan
Belfort. Yes. Mm-hmm. Jordan Belfort. He's a prime example of that. He started off in an industry not great at sales, but he used his skills and his gifts in the wrong way. And he got his prison time for it. Well, now he's telling folks, I'm going to teach you what I know, but you better use it in the right way. Because he said you can use it in two ways. Like what you just said, manipulation, or you can use it to help them in a good way. And that's the way you want to go. And you got to be careful of that. And
don't abuse those powers. I guess it's not really a power. It's just psychology and understanding people and what helps them get over their own objections. Because people will object, as we've talked about a couple of times. They're going to object because that's what they feel like they're supposed to do.
Do you want to add an extra? No, I don't. I'll be in the McDonald's drive-thru. No.
Did you say extra? No. If the term extra is in there, do you want to upsize? No.
Exactly.
Small is fine. So if you can get them to agree more on the things that you know that they really do want, and you're just kind of nudging them along, it's a great skill to have. And it is a skill. You have to learn how to do that. But again, Jordan Belfort is a perfect example that he is phenomenal at what he does. He is a great salesman. He understands people.
Yep.
He understands the psychology of people. He understands the psychology of sales, and he knows how to use it. Now, again, he abused that,
but he learned
back in the 80s, right? It became extremely successful in the wrong way and ended up serving some prison time because of it. But he still does seminars, and
his
he
programs,
has some phenomenal tips.
And they're not cheap. Like his programs can be a little pricey, but I was fortunate enough to get like a copy of one for free, and it is phenomenal. Like what he teaches. I
watched one on YouTube, and it was literally, I think, 28 minutes long, and he was teaching this class. It was a very poorly videoed, it's horrible audio.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Yep.
But if you get past all of that, the quality of it,
just pay attention to what he's saying.
He went over like 28 minutes of them saying the same 2 sentences and just perfecting 2 sentences. And it's all in the way you use your voice. If your tone goes up at the end, it's a question. We call it valley girling is what we call it in our office. That. And, if you're valley girling, it's a question. If you go up at the end, if you go down at the end of your sentence, it's a statement. And so it's just small things like that. And that question at the end, if you're not actually asking a question, then it shows that you're being timid and insecure. But if you go down, now you're making a statement. Not now you're making a statement.
So are you making a statement?
Right.
Yeah. It's practice. And I actually tell my mom all the time, my mom's one of my best friends. And I tell her, I go, Mom, the reason that, and this is something extremely important, okay, is I go, Mom, the reason that your children are not responding to what you're saying, okay, is because of how you're coming off. Her facial expressions, her tonality, I said in her, her body language. And that's just to her children. What you don't realize is every day we are selling. We are selling something or being sold something. And that could have been just my mom trying to sell them to go to dinner with her. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to help her and understand that tonality, facial expressions, and body language sells everything.
Right.
It really does. And it gives off an energy. And that's why it's important to, if you sit upright, it shows confidence. It shows if you're kind of slouched and timid, your shoulders are a little, they're kind of like, well, she doesn't seem confident in what she's saying or what she does. So why in the world would I let her sell me a house or him sell me insurance? So it's important, and that it's good for your facial expression because always try to have a smile on your face, but don't be that creep that's just like staring at you with a smile. But when you're telling a story, do like weird faces, make your eyes smaller, do weird, high pitch, goofy noises. Let them know you're real and that you're not there just to get the sale.
And always find somebody who's better at what they do than you are. And that's a great place to start. You want to be genuine, but you have to learn first.
Yes.
And if you mimic somebody who's already successful, it gives you a place to start to also be successful. But I say mimic loosely. You want to use some of those mannerisms, some of that confidence, because when you first start getting into sales, you're insecure. I mean, because you're just learning the product yourself and you're trying to tell people about it like you're the pro, and you're not. So mimic.
But they don't know that.
Yeah. Take 3 great people that you're around in your office or maybe friends and mimic what they do. And if you take 3 or 4 different ones, now you're molding it into your own and making it yours. And you're just taking the best aspects of different people who are really good at what they do.
Yeah.
And making it comfortable for you.
That's crazy you said that. When I first got my realtor's license, I had joined a brokerage, and I was like, you know what? I needed money. I was coming out of being a waitress and doing, and I was like, I'm in this and I'm going to give it all I got. Well, when I got in there, I didn't sit where the other realtors sat. I asked my broker if I could sit in his office or near his office. And at that time, I didn't realize what I was doing. But I was like, well, he's the broker. He makes the most money here. Why would I not want to? And he was in the office every day. So I was fortunate to be able to have that. But I was like, I'm going to just I was a risk. He could have said no. He could have been like, no, this is mine. You need to go down there with him. But he didn't. He said, sure. So I would listen. They called me the sponge. I would absorb everything I heard.
That's a compliment.
Thank you. Yeah. I was like, I'm not what do I live under the sea? What are y'all talking about? No. So it was a really big compliment. But I didn't know what I was doing. But like you had just said, I went to who owned the brokerage, sat there, and I listened to him talk on the phone. I would write notes. I annoyed him all you couldn't even imagine with my question. But I told myself when I was younger, I didn't ask questions. And that made me feel like I had no knowledge. And you're right, I didn't, because I didn't ask questions. Because I felt if I asked questions, I was stupid. Well, that's the total opposite.
Exactly.
So I kept continuing to ask questions. And then I merged from my broker down to the top agents. And then I went down there and I was like, well, who does most sales down here? And so that's what I did. And then I went in, I listened, I asked questions like, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? And they were very open, and it's up to me whether I'm going to do it or not. That's why I share all tips and tricks.
If you're the smartest person in your group, you're in the wrong group.
Yeah.
You've got to surround yourself with people who are better at what they do than you. And another thing that helped me a lot too is getting out of my industry and listening to how other professionals do their jobs fantastically.
Amen.
You know, so just because I'm surrounding myself with people who work for the same company and sell the same insurance as me, and I find out how they do it successfully, great. But how do real estate agents, how do people who sell vacuum cleaners do what they do? It's different, and you can pick up different tips because it's a whole different pool of people.
And also, you're building your sphere of influence. So all those folks that you are meeting in those different industries, you're going to build relationships with, and you can send referrals to one another. Like I have tons of friends that sell cars. Okay. And I shouldn't say tons of friends. I have a select few that I trust with everything. My mom recently was going to trade her car in a little earlier than she should, but you know, that little impulsiveness. Well, she was there, and this is a prime example. Okay. I don't know if they're going to hear this, but I'm not going to say names. Okay. Of if you can tell if somebody's out for the money or if they're out to actually just care about you and wanting to help you. And so my mom went in there and she went to a dealer, or to a salesman that I love. So she went to him. She said, I'm interested in this kind of car. Let's run some numbers, make sure I'm not going to be in a hole. So he ran some numbers, gave her all the information, laid it all out on the table for her. This is what your payment would be. No money down, this. Well, there was another salesman in there, okay, who went up to a manager. My mom heard this, okay, and said, well, I emailed or I texted her the other day, so I get 50% of that. I get 50% of that sale. And my mom was very upset.
Now I'm a number.
Right.
Yeah. I'm a number.
And the other salesman who was helping my mom, he didn't know about this. Okay. And my mom went to that manager. She said, because I don't know if the guy knew my mom could hear him or whatever it is, but all she heard was, well, I get 50% of that sale because I called her. My mom goes, first of all, you never called me. Second of all, your message said, hi, Grace. Just wanted to say, check in. That's it. And nothing about
didn't earn any business
in anything. It wasn't it was just, hey, Grace, just wanted to check, or something along those lines. It may have not even been that. It may have been just a generic, hey, it's so-and-so from at this dealership and we're doing this promotion or not. I don't even know what it was. But anyways, my mom went to her salesman and said, I'm going to tell you right now, you're getting 100% of that commission, because what she immediately realized, or that I helped her realize, is one was out for money, one was out to help her. Because I've been in a position where I've lost a customer, somebody I cared about that maybe I worked with, and they went to somebody. It happens to all of us.
Sure.
And they went to somebody else. I never once said, I get some of that. Because
you got to earn it.
You got to earn it. And not only, I didn't want them to feel like they were a number.
Exactly.
And so that's a prime example of that showed right there. That salesman was all about the money. Now, folks, everybody, they have a bad reputation. I get that. He's not a bad person. He may be going through a hard time or whatever it is. But at that moment, that's why you have to be careful at all times when you're working, what you say, what you do, everything. Because now when I see that person, I'm going to think he's only out for the money.
Yeah.
That's it. Even though that may not be the case, that's what I'm going to think.
There's a stigma and it stays with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that. And not all of them are like that.
And how you handle yourself as a salesperson does reflect your personality.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Yes.
And like you just said, now you think of that person as that way, not that salesperson. They're a person, right?
Yeah.
We all have jobs. Now they're a person that has a bad trait.
Yeah.
So now I'm not saying you don't like them as a person, but now there's an aspect of their personality that you just don't like. No.
Because how do I know that they're giving me the best deal or are actually, because
are they thinking about them or are they thinking about you?
Yeah. Because you know what ended up happening? I'm going to finish this story is, so after all that, whatever, that went away really quickly when that whole situation had happened. My mom and them went outside and my mom was just so on edge. She wasn't sure what to do. And he said, Grace, I'm going to be honest with you. He goes, and it was the first of the month, which technically is the last day of the month before. So it really is like the final day of whatever promotion is they're running. And he goes, but I'm not telling you that to pressure you. He goes, I'm just telling you because I'm disclosing it. And again, people could have took that two ways. Oh, he's just telling me that because it's the last day and I know what he's trying to do.
Trying to get that sale in really quick.
But you can
just
tell,
informing so you don't miss out on it. And
yes. Yeah. And you can tell by the way his tone was, his demeanor, and you can just feel his aura of him being genuine. So what he told my mom is he said, listen, I want you just go home. He goes, Grace, you got plenty of time left on your lease. And if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. He goes, but don't decide tonight. You're not committed. He goes, so go home, think about it. And if the deal and promotion's still here tomorrow, come back. He goes, but if not, we're going to have another one. You got plenty of time on your car. Do you know what that felt like?
That's that no pressure finally.
He was just giving her. So what that was right there is my mom had objections. She had risks that she wasn't comfortable with taking. And what he did is he let her know, hey, listen, it's okay. He let her make sure she was the one making the decision.
And not only that, I think the most important thing to take from that is he actually picked up on that.
Great job, Craig.
He picked up on the fact that she had a reservation. Hey, you know what? It's not your time. I don't want you to feel like you're making a decision out of haste because you're pushed for a time limit. But he picked up on that. And that means he was in tune with her and actually cared.
And guess what's going to happen? My
she's
mom,
going to go right back to them.
She's already referred people to him.
Fantastic.
That's the key out of all of this, folks, and that's why I love telling stories. And that's an example. If you are going to a meeting or if you're going somewhere, tell stories because that's more interesting than just facts and this and that. Tell a story, give an example because it's real. And and by him putting down my mom's guard and just saying, listen, it's all right, come back. He got referrals out of that.
Yeah.
And that's what I want everyone to see is that just because you may not get that sale or sell your product to that person that you were zoned in on, you got to remember that they know several other people and that they'll remember how you made them feel. And that's the key.
Exactly. And, you said it earlier on is don't fake it till you make it. Because you have to be genuine. If you don't genuinely care about the people that you're helping, you're in the wrong profession.
Yep.
Do something else, anything else. Don't fool yourself. Don't waste your time. Don't waste the time of the people that you're supposed to be helping. If you don't genuinely care about the people that you speak with every day, whether it's one person or 15 people, you have to have 100% into them and you have to care about what they need. And if you're not it is okay to acknowledge that you don't have what they need.
Yes.
But it's also very important, again, knowing your competition, help them still by sending them somewhere else that they can get the help they need.
They can't see it, but I have the biggest smile on my face because you just brought up that is something I almost forgot to bring up before we end all of this. Is just that if somebody reaches out to you and they're like, or you reach out to them and they're interested in knowing if you can give them the best rate, the best everything. Like my father's a loan officer, for example, and people will call him to get a second opinion about a loan or refinancing. And he will tell them the truth. He will say, listen, if you go with me, your interest rate will be at, 3.5. But if you already said you went down to your bank and I can't beat them. They're giving you, a 3.0 but he'll analyze everything. He'll look at, well, are they charging you in closing costs? He'll look at it all.
The whole overall value.
Correct. To make sure who is getting the best service or the best, what is best for them. And if that takes, not that you're losing them, but you're not getting them, you know what that's going to do?
He just gained trust with somebody he couldn't even help.
Yes. And you don't know what their experience is going to be with through a bank.
Exactly.
And it could be a bad one or maybe a different person. But what they'll do is they'll be like, you know what? He didn't help me, but he was so honest and he sent me the direction I needed to go. And even though we didn't use him, I want my aunt to use him because she's looking to buy a house and I want her to call him up. And that's why it's like, thank you for bringing that up because I almost forgot to mention that. If you can't help them, please know someone who can.
Exactly. Because you're still helping them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not making money off of them and doesn't necessarily help them.
No.
But if long as you, in my business, my job is to inform. And I'm very open about that. I'm like, look, I'm not here to sell you anything. Mm-hmm. I'm here to give you your alternatives, let you know what options you have available. Should the best fit for you be with me? Great. If it's not and it's with somebody else, that's great too. But at least you know what options you have to make an informed decision, whatever's best for you. I've done my job once I've done that.
Yes.
I may not make that sale. I didn't make a paycheck off of that person, but I help them.
It makes you feel good.
And I can still get a referral even though I couldn't help them because I was helpful.
Mm-hmm. Somebody taught me something when I first got my realtor's license. And you could probably, and everybody listening, try to make it to where it adapts to what your industry is. So like when I go to meet buyers at the house for the first time, they're already like, oh, she's going to try to sell us on the first one we look at. She just wants the check. Well, what I do is, especially if it's like a little family, I go, all right, I said, everybody, before we even look at the house, come on in, bring it in. Let's go team. And I make it, fun. And they come in and I go, I want to make sure I put this out all on the table before we enter this house. I said, or before we look around, I'm not going to sell you a house. And they literally look at me like, what? Like, again, I always get looked at like I'm crazy. Like, what are you talking about? And I go, yeah, it sounds crazy. I said, the house is going to sell itself. I said, I'm your tour guide. I am the person you're going to ask questions to. And I'm here to make sure I protect you. But the home will sell itself.
And you can almost feel an exhale from them.
Oh my gosh. You just see them like, okay. So if we don't like this one, we don't have to offer on.
I can let my guard down.
And I tell them, I go, if we got to look at 30 houses, we'll look at 30. I go, I hope it don't take that many. I said, it shouldn't take that many. I go, but I want you to know that I'm here to help you find the house. So like your insurance plans, you can say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I need you to understand I'm not going to sell you anything. Okay. I'm going to let the plan sell itself. And you can use that with anything. Hey, I'm not going to sell you any kind of paint today. The paint's going to choose, the paint color is going to choose itself. And it's a true thing. And you do. So anybody utilize that to your advantage because I'm telling y'all it works.
And that's the deal with questions. You ask the right questions, they find each other.
Yes.
It's a nice little matchmaking sort of thing. Actually, I think that's a great way to put that. I never really thought of it that way. But it's kind of a matchmaking. That's kind of what we do, right? We're kind of matching up
we're matchmakers.
Our customers to what it is that we offer.
To what they need or what they exactly. Salesmen are legit matchmakers. It is 100% true. You're trying to take your customer, your prospect, and match them to the best quality of service or product you're offering. And once they get that, like they could be a customer for life, a friend, anything, and then just focus on relationships and building your relationship with that person. Even if it takes 12 point of contacts, pay attention to what they're objecting, write it out, and plan and prepare for the next time you call them, because I'm sure they're going to have the same 3 objections again, and just show them you're consistent and that you care. And just listen. Listening is very, very key. And I'm sure there's a lot that I'm missing today.
Oh, we got plenty of time. We're going to do this some more.
There's a lot I'm sure that I'm missing because this is a broad subject, but just pay attention to what they are objecting and look at the risks. Are you the reason they're not buying? Is it them? Is it the product? That's just, yeah.
If you can certainly sense that they love your product, but they may not love you, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay bring on somebody that might fit their personality better. Like my personality, I'm a lot like you. I'm kind of goofy, lighthearted, like to have a good time. But there's also some analytical people out there that I can't relate to as well.
100%.
I can't let my full personality come through because they're straight to the point. They're a numbers person. And I'm not necessarily a good fit for them personally or as their salesperson.
Makes you a good salesman to admit that.
Yeah. And although my product is perfect for them, we may not be perfect for each other, but I know a lot of other people that work with the same product as me that have that type of personality that might be a great fit.
And it's okay to tell them that too. It's okay to say, you know what, like I really feel that my coworker Janet over here, I think she would really, you and her together are going to understand one another. I think she would be, do you mind?
You're a better fit than we are.
Do you care if I give Janet your phone number today, Al? You know what I mean? Like, is that okay with you? And sure, you know, if it betters them, and just that right there is a prime example of showing how much you care, that you're caring enough that you don't care about the money. You just want to make sure they're taken care of.
They get what they need.
And it comes back.
Yep.
So, but the risks they're going to come up. It's going to happen. Remember what they are, write them out, and practice. Like we said, practice about with your family, your friends, just role play. I role play all the time. Yeah. Like, hey, you know, if like you just make up something, anything, because that could be an objection, and see what your family or friends say back to you, and then keep going, and it will better you.
It will.
Yeah.
Mary, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I love it. This is so much fun, and I wish we had another hour to talk, and we will. We'll do this again.
Yeah.
This was amazing, and I hope everybody else got as much out of it as I did. I mean, this was...
I hope so. I will admit, I was so nervous. I'm always nervous, so I do hope they get something out of it, but I've enjoyed being here again, and I can't wait till next time.
Oh, it's gonna be a good time. So to everybody else, thank you for joining us at The Biz Reveal. Remember, you can always find us at thebizreveal.com. Check out our YouTube page, and also on any of the podcast apps out there. Just pick your favorite one, and we're going to be there. Mary Harper, thank you so much. Can you let them know also where to find you after the show as well?
Yes. I am Mary Harper. You can find me at harpershouses.com, or you can also find me for all your marketing needs at marketwithmary.com. I appreciate y'all listening. And Craig, thank you. Thank you for having me here again.
Love having you here.
Thank you.
All right, everybody else, thank you for joining the Biz Reveal. Till next time.